Nothing's been done about the dog. He got the dog back, like within a day. There's a car up on Middle Street that's been sitting in the backyard, no license or anything. They've been ticketed for that. The car's still sitting there, so I mean, something needs to be done.
I agree, and it's unfair to everybody except for the
And I can go
offender,
around and
basically.
show some of you people some of these houses. There's one not too far from where Julie lives, and it's, I mean, it's,
I think it was on
it's
fire
awful.
last week.
Children are at stake here. I mean, it's getting warm. I can't even go outside because this big old dog. I mean, he's been trained to be mean. And this guy is something else over there.
I mean,
I
this
would
dog,
agree.
we're
It's a
talking.
great name. Great name.
I mean, we're talking.
We're not talking little.
A big dog.
I trust that
Yeah.
they're not, and some of those issues are what need to be brought to
We
the
shouldn't have to
backward
be
as our
afraid.
code
We shouldn't have to
enforcement.
be afraid.
And you shouldn't, and that's why I say there's municipal remedies is what you're working with now through the city police and the city council, but there's also private remedies, and if the situation is that dire, then you should at least explore them. I'm not saying you have to act upon them.
I understand.
You just should think about them.
Thank you.
Okay.
But it took a great deal of participation from the neighbors and testimony and a lot of preparation in the court case, but it took time.
And that one was not on the street, once it was locked up.
Yes, once it was locked up, we was able, because it actually chewed up another animal. And I don't want to see somebody get chewed up either before we have to hold it.
Exactly.
But, like I said, it's a very violent situation. I can't, obviously for legal reasons, go into the resident's name or whatever, but it's all law enforcement tools that the Constitution will allow us to use have been used.
He called her filthy names, and it was awful.
About calling the police, and I got scared. He had his dog on the porch, and he had a hold of him, and he was turning around cussing me, and I was trying to get my key in the door. You know, I was scared I was by myself, and he knew I was by myself. And I said, I didn't call the police on your dog, on you, I called it on your dog. Just keep it in your yard. And I got in the house real quick, because I'm a little skittish of him. I think he could do something to us.
Well, she wouldn't get out in her yard without a baseball bat. That's how.
I carried my ball bat
That's
out
how-
when I
that's
took
how
my
afraid
dog
she
out,
is.
and my dog came missing right day after I called the police on him. We couldn't find my dog for 3 days.
And it's kept in a pen at all times.
And it was in a pen, and locks had been taken off. So I got him in the garage, and I'm still skittish to take him out. So that's where we're at with this guy.
Who is the property owner? Court date. Then if they decide they want to hire an attorney, all they gotta do is say they hire an attorney, then we're in July.
And like I said, those issues are above my
Sure.
purview and review. I don't.
What we're needing to do is, we realize you all have the restraints, but we, as a city, need to pursue getting it handled as
Yes, sir.
expeditiously as possible.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Eaton, if I could just add one more thing, then I will. I know Chief Calvert is strapped in this town with the offices he had. I know money is tight, but these other cities, they have a person and that's all they do. And since Mr. Hapworth doesn't do the trash and stuff like that, there's enough to do around this town for a person just to do nothing but that. Would it be possible to just have a person that's their duty?
I thought you had someone doing.
He's a road officer. He also must answer calls for service. And like right now, I had him working on a project, doing cleanups, and he also was assisted by myself and other items too. But we had a large felony theft from a local business, and he's been spending 2 days putting that case together.
Really?
No, we do not. Ms. Motley's right. I think Park Hills has 2. Farmington has several. I don't know how many Deloge. They may have 1 or 2. I
And
don't
do
know.
you have the money in your budget to do it?
To add a person to do just that, not at this time, no.
Okay, that answers that question. So, I understand what you're saying, but I think we need to get our house in order before we start trying to
Well,
pursue.
as long as we're starting,
Yes,
that's the main thing, get something started.
right.
Yes.
Can I say something? I'm Meg Sinatra, and I walk a lot all over town, and there are so many of these houses, rental properties, that are just terrible, how anybody could even live in them. And there was one over here on North Division Street by the fire station where they had a big piece of equipment and had a big shovel shoveling the stuff out that they had taken out of the house. So it, you know, it's sad that our town has come to this. I was born and raised here, and we had a nice,
We did.
clean town. We weren't rich people,
Right.
but we did keep our homes clean and the yards cleaned up, and it's very sad to think that we have to live in this kind of a situation.
We're back to we're the only people around, the only town around that don't have this tax too.
I know, that's
That's
sad.
what kills us.
That's
That's
what
what kills
hurts.
us.
You know,
And
we're, our hands are
That's
tied on
what
how
we
much
need
money
to
we have
do.
to spend.
I'd be very happy to go door to door to try to get that
Yeah,
going
that's what we
again.
need.
But Bruce, you're right, and I agree with you 100%. Bob and I voted for it every time it comes up, but can't we still, regardless of the can't we still clean the properties up?
Well, I totally agree, but again, you're back to where we're racking up that tickets and what's it doing any good? None.
It's
You know,
not.
I mean,
But if we change our building codes,
well,
is
yeah,
that
we gotta start somewhere.
Well, this house, we're talking about where the dog is. A repairman went in there to do, he told me this, and he said the house is not even fit to live in.
Oh, yeah.
But it's been inspected 3 times since this guy's had it, and the people have been allowed to move right back in. So something needs to change.
Yes.
Just like the one Maxine talking about, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mhm.
I called Mr. Calvert about it whenever there was piles of stuff in the front yard. So, I mean, I know exactly what she's talking about, 'cause I called him about it. I mean, it's everywhere,
We do need some help from the citizens. I don't think everyone that moves into a property is getting an occupancy permit. And without some help, I don't think Dwayne is gonna be able to do the proper inspections. Am I speaking out of turn, Dwayne?
No, they keep, the landlords keep the water in their name when they move people in and out, and you don't know that.
You don't know the new ones are
Yeah.
coming.
And he's right about that.
So, I mean, it's a combination of errors that we need to, or situations that we need to look at increasing and keep these in mind and trying to make things better. I mean, it isn't gonna happen overnight, but as long as we let it continue, it's not gonna get any better.
because they think that it's a great thing. These people that are all over the county and other states that can come in and buy all this old derelict property and then get somebody in there and.
again, we're back to not, they don't have to pay any taxes on it, that's
Right,
great.
exactly.
So that's the whole process.
They don't live here and they
We've got
don't
what we've
care.
got now.
Yeah, they just leave.
And then it
So-
takes too much money. The city can't afford, just like when I first was on council, there was a derelict property that was, the backside had fallen off up in your neighborhood. We couldn't take possession of it. It was too much money to litigate, and then you have to pay to tear it down. The city budget can't even afford to do that.
Then once we, the
Once you
last
get it.
couple we've gotten into, we spent
Yes.
$9,000 and to date have not recovered on 2 of them. And, you know, they're vacant lots now, but, you know, the cost of disposing of the homes,
I wish the city had the money to clean it up.
well, I think we're looking at a step in the right direction. I'm not saying it'll remedy everything, but I think Dwayne, Chief,
Yes, sir.
we need to work with the city council on making recommendations, and Seth will get his work done in a week.
Be happy to offer any suggestion I can, I think that would help.
Yes, please.